Green Spaces Alliance. She's the one who grants money for people to start community gardens. And if you go to the American Community Garden Association, they'll tell you like just kind of like the 10 steps that it takes for you to like start a community garden in your neighborhood. And then once you have those steps in mind, contact Angela and she can give you the proposal that you need to complete in order to submit for funding. You know, so you can buy dirt and all that other stuff. And that's how all these community gardens got started. They submitted applications, and now Green Spaces Alliance is actually, you know, supporting and promoting those gardens. And to find out more about community gardens, you go to Green Spaces Alliance and you say, hey, you know. So that's where I've been getting all this information. The other thing is that, you know, for people who are just gardening in their backyard, those orange sheets right behind you are the planting schedules that are published from Bexar County. And they have a fall and a spring sheet that they give out, but this is the fall one, you know, because that's what we're going into. And this fall will be kind of challenging because it's been so hot, you know. Things will have to go into the ground a little bit later, but I think that if you follow that, you should be in good stead. Yeah, there's two different versions, but they're the same. And then if you take a look at that tan handouts, those are how-to for a fall garden. So that's step number one, things that we can do to figure out the basics and build from there. And if you're looking where you get your gardening stuff from, that white sheet right there. Yeah, that one there. I got that from Fanix Nursery, and they're located on Holmgren Road. I can't tell you what part of town that is other than it's northeast-ish. But I found them online before I even moved here because they have this planting schedule on the internet. So it's awesome in terms of like it just has the whole calendar, what it's good to plant during which time period, and they're really good about carrying fruit trees, vegetables, and stuff that grows well in this area. If it doesn't grow well in this area, they don't carry it, which is, you know, the sustainable way to garden. You know, you don't want to have to use all of your rationed water on like grass that doesn't stay green unless you water it like 7 times a day. You know.
I don't know whether it's I don't know. I just think I have bad luck with vegetables. But I got my neighbor downstairs. We tried to grow some cherry tomatoes. I mean, I got like maybe 3 out of the whole season thing. Yeah. And 3 little cherry tomatoes. Was that it cost $20 each? Because by the time I paid for everything, it was like maybe $10 a tomato. Okay. You know, but it was ridiculous. And he knows, and he's grown tomatoes before, and he's grown vegetables, and it totally just died. He bought it out. Excuse me? Yeah, I don't know. It just never sprouted. You know, 3 cherry tomatoes sprouted, and that was. So was that because it was so hot, or?
Well, was that like a spring garden, or is that like
no?
You did that this year?
I think we just tried like 2 months prior.
Oh, like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
I don't think that was the time to plant tomatoes.
I don't know.
Tomato planting season kind of just started.
We went to one of those greenhouses, and that's what they recommended, and bought the dirt and everything, and just put it in a little plot of land that was there. And well, I'm just wondering what the heck I did. Kind of discouraged me.
Well, don't be discouraged. Just keep trying again because you have another season right now.
I'm not spending money for it anymore.
Well, if you look behind you, I have this awesome book called The Frugal Gardener, and it's all about how to do it on a budget.
Next time I do it, I'll be doing it for somebody else with their land.
Yeah, and there's a lot that goes into, you know, planting a successful garden. You know, are you amending the soil with, you know, maybe some compost? Is your soil really good and moist? Are you mulching it to keep it from drying up? You know, are you burning it to make sure that water that does go into the area goes straight into your plant and not like dispersed out onto the land? And I mean, there's just those basic things that I just talked about are like critical mistakes for beginner gardeners. And that could be it, or it could just be you didn't have a 30% landscape cloth over your tomatoes and it was a little too hot, because with you know, a whole summer of 100 degrees.
So even if you're watering them, they can still get scorched.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
There was a local gardener who had her tomatoes out, and she didn't water one day, and they so wilted. So the next day, she had little tiny umbrellas on top of each tomato plant. You know, just to like try to give them a little bit of a break from the sun. But it's really important to pay attention to, you know, your plants. You know,
and I think if you water them, they'd be okay. But I guess that's like you standing out there for 10 hours in 100-degree weather.
Yeah, and tomatoes really they need like 6 to 8 hours of sun a day for, I don't know how many days, I think it's 45 or 60 days.
Yeah.
But, you know, that doesn't mean it has to be like the 11 to 3 o'clock hottest part of the day's sun. It could be morning sun and evening sun. So where on your house, or where in your house do you want to place those so that they get the right amount of sun, and maybe not the most intense sun of the day, especially in Texas where it's super hot. So a lot of it's common sense if you like go through the process with somebody and they help you think about it. Like, oh yeah, I thought about it. Yeah, if it's on this side of my house, well then maybe it gets better sun than if it's on that side of the house. So there's, you know, there's a few little tricks of the trade, but you know, at the end of the day, you know, if your soil is good, it's got, you know, aerated soil, and you got some nutrients in the soil, and, you know, you plant your plant at the appropriate time of year, you know, you can usually get some good results.
I had the wind. The wind absolutely killed my first tomato planting.
Walls of water, yeah. So in Colorado, it's almost impossible to plant.
Because it's like anything else. If you're successful, you want to keep doing it. If you're like totally bombed out, forget it. I'm not even going to try this anymore.
Yeah, but it's not a mystery, but it takes paying attention to it.
Trial and error.
You know, trial and error, and like, you know, where I lived in Colorado.
Trial and error is not cheap, you know, especially when you get a dead crop, you know, it's not cheap.
Right, that's what our farmers have to do there, and it's crazy. But I think for me, it puts me in touch with like what it takes to produce food, you know, and what's that all about, you know, like it takes, I have to like not be inside like all day long in order to know what my plants are going through. Or like today, I stayed home a lot of the day just to like, I just planted my tomatoes yesterday, and my greens and my broccoli, and
so you
I just
plant that at any time, any month you can.
I was using the schedule.
Oh, okay. All right.
But yeah, I mean, I planted it, but I wanted to like make sure it's a new house. I'm not sure how the sun goes, and like, you know, if the house is shading it, or if like the neighbor's tree is shading it. So I just kind of had to stay home a little bit and like do stuff around the house so I can keep an eye out. This time of day, oh, my plants are doing this. So this time of day, oh, they're in the shade still. Oh, this time of day, oh, now they're getting sun. It's 11 o'clock, you know.
When you plant at home, what kind of planting do you do there? So we were talking about having something a little bit older that we can experiment with.
Containers.
What kind of containers?
I have a 15-gallon container for each of my tomatoes.
Okay.
And I fill it almost to the top. Like there's maybe this much that's not filled with dirt, so it's all filled with dirt. And I amended the soil. I had like the Texas, what is it, the Vortex potting soil. It's supposed to be really good. They make it up in Austin.
Oh, the ladybug?
Yeah, the ladybug.
That's good stuff.
And it keeps a lot of moisture. So I amended that with compost. So I just like mixed it in a little bit, and then I planted my tomatoes.
You can trench plant tomatoes. It's one of the few plants that, you know, you can bury it. Like if you got a plant this tall, you can bury like half of that, and it'll grow roots. So the better the roots, the better established the plant will
You
be.
take off all the bottom leaves, and then just put that stem really deep into the soil.
Yeah, we were talking about growing something at home with dogs, and we're thinking about having to have something high off the ground. So we have Boston Terriers, so they don't get too high. But if we have something in the ground, or something, it'll be gone. Yeah. So we were kind of wondering about how to go about doing that.
You have a cage around it.
chain wire, but if it's high enough, I think it'd be okay. That's the thing. So if
Like
it's not
if you
even a
have-
few feet off the ground, I think it might be fine.
Like if you can make your own containers. I mean, with 2x4s
Yeah.
and plywood, or you can buy a container at the Goodwill or at the plant store or wherever. There's a lot of different ways to resource what kind of thing you're trying to create.
And so we're
envision.
looking at like this list here, and there's so many different vegetables on here, and is there a lot on here that we could grow in something like that? Okay. You want to name which ones? Or?
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I can take a look later. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Call Glenn at
Yeah,
Panics.
yeah.
He's great.
Yeah, Panics has been around for a while.
Yeah.
I really need step-by-step directions, so I don't know if I go to a community garden deal, whether somebody's going to be there and say, okay, well, do this.